that and enjoyed everything that I heard. But here's the bottom line, boys. College football season is well underway. Heck, some teams have already played 2 games. UConn's already lost a coach. So the business of college football just never stops. Literally, we already have a coach who's quit this year, Randy Edsall. He was going to retire, and then he's like, let's just go ahead and make this happen now. So that's college football. Vandy, we were trying to figure this out. Blaine and Rhett Bryan and me were talking in the blue room or in the green room here. What color it, whatever color
blue,
it is.
green, donut.
There's
cake.
donuts in there. There's a cake. Some show had a first birthday.
Yeah.
Jay Martin Mom, they got a nice cake.
Yeah. Have you ever been a kid that you got your first birthday and then no one got you a cake?
Yeah, I think that happened recently.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering, do you feel bad because of it? I mean, like dang, are we the stepchilds or something? I don't know. We've been on the air for a year or in something, like, haven't we? It has to be a while.
Maybe
How
that's for us,
belated
too.
is the birthday of this show? Do y'all know the day it was created?
No, I know.
Because I came along like in March. So
Right, you wouldn't know. Yeah. I think it's
Welcome
probably
aboard,
been maybe a year and a month. If I was guessing.
You're the show's director of content, so I count on you. You are. I mean, you are. You're the director of content.
I'm going to put
Lucas is our show linguist.
I'm going to put Ramon's helmet here and feel there's no way I could remember that after, like, running into people like Ramon.
There's
like,
one clock
what would
in
you
the
think I
studio.
would remember some stuff like that?
That helmet gets put in front of the clock
Right.
every day. It's
Sorry, Ramon, your helmet is getting moved. We cannot see the clock.
one clock in the whole studio. Lonzo says good afternoon. Blaine, Mickey, and Lucas, good afternoon. Cousin Tower says good afternoon. Blaine and Mickey, Lucas, good afternoon. To you as well. We're getting all kinds of good afternoons here. Everybody's feeling good on this Tuesday. And it's Titans week. I mean, here we go. The start of the 17-game season begins this week. Titans at Arizona, noon on Sunday. Tennessee, of course, played last Thursday. They'll play again against Pittsburgh in the Johnny Majors game on Saturday. But we were discussing this in the whatever color that room is, going back to that. Vanderbilt lost to ETSU. Final score 23-3. Could have been worse. They had a pick six wiped out in the game and settled for a field goal.
Big six as well. Didn't somebody return a kick that was called back too?
Was it
Kickoff. A kickoff.
Oh, maybe it was.
That's what Rhett was
a
saying.
long return. Okay,
Yeah.
so they had that wiped off, blown out by ETSU. They're going to play Colorado State on Saturday. They were beaten by South Dakota State,
What?
who's also a 1AA team. And they scored. South Dakota State beat them like 45-23 or something.
What was it? What's the worst loss this past weekend? You got Montana beat Washington.
Which Mark Mariani probably you can't
He's
even talk to
pumped
him
up.
Right
He's
now.
jacked. I had to like his stuff there. He's
Gosh.
jacked up.
Yeah.
Got LSU lost to UCLA for what it's worth, just Pac-12 LSU. So, SEC. What's the other? You had some other losses. I mean, some people would say, Clemson losing to Georgia. I picked Georgia in that game.
Yeah, we called our shot on Friday.
Yeah.
I picked Georgia.
Yeah.
If Georgia's going to win a national championship, you needed to beat Clemson.
Everybody's saying this is the year. So,
Yeah.
and now they're with COVID. Some players have COVID, and they're not going to be able to play in this game versus UAB.
Yeah.
Saw that going across the ticker. But, there were some games, some were closer than others. North Carolina losing, which happened earlier, which, playing in Virginia Tech is tough to play. And they played them tight into overtime last year. I remember watching that game. So that wasn't as surprising, but, somehow how he played, he's kind of a guy's in running for the Heisman, and he didn't play so well. Him and Rattler almost got beat by Tulane. Tulane's a good program though. They can play with anybody.
Willie Fritz.
Yeah. So hey, it is what it is. But man, I think I don't know. Are you more surprised that LSU lost to UCLA or the Montana over Washington? Probably most people here don't care, so they're gonna go LSU losing to UCLA.
For me, baby, LSU, and I don't. Somebody tweeted the show on Friday and said, or tweeted the show, Sunday, and said, you guys had a guy on recently and he was saying how good LSU is. You never need to have that guy on. Well, people have to give their opinions. So before the season, everybody tries to pick a Cinderella team or somebody. They'll try to get on somebody's bandwagon. Maybe LSU can still be good. I don't know. But you got Ed Orgeron calling a guy a sissy wearing his blue shirt. That's sissy blue you got on. Did you see that?
No, I did not see that. That's why I'm
yelled-
laughing. I did not see that.
The guy yelled at him. He's like, "You and your sissy blue shirt," and then they beat him. So now LSU is making. UCLA has a shirt that says "sissy blue."
Oh, because they got that. Like, it's kind of a powder blue.
Yes, you know me in that color. I love that color.
Yeah. It was a lot of history there for UCLA. I can't believe Big O, man.
He
He's
called the guy a
hilarious, man.
sissy.
Come on, Big O. Yeah, Chip Kelly run over to him and say, "All right, man, good job there, sissy O." Whatever he would have said that. I wonder what coaches say sometimes. Because sometimes you see people, coaches talking to one another. You can tell they walk away like, "Oh, you just pissed me off." And sometimes like, "Hey, man, good job, man. We lost. It wasn't a good job. Regardless, we would have won even if we played bad, and we still won." So, oh man, you got a heck of a team. Again, that's kind of an awkward moment to me. Like,
Post-game handshake.
Yeah, like for the head coaches to go over there, like, man, because those guys are competitor in a different way, not because they're not playing, but as coaches. So you go over and say, "Hey, man, you got a heck of a squad there." And if your team lost and he told you that, that's almost like a slap in the face too.
Right.
What can you really say?
I just say, "Hey, man, good luck the rest of the season." Because I can't tell you, "Hey, man, you got a great squad." I know we just boat raced y'all by 60, but heck of a
Even
squad.
if you just beat them by a touchdown.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, great. Oh, that's the worst. I mean, like,
Good
really?
game, coach.
Yeah.
Like, what's Nick Saban going to say to Manny Diaz after Saturday's game to make him feel better?
Hey, good luck.
Hey, great job, Manny.
Hey, your hair looks great.
Yeah.
Hey,
No, I don't know, man. I watched that game. I stopped watching. It was like,
I know.
man, Alabama is a destroyer.
Every year,
Good Lord.
every year, if you took me to Las Vegas and said you got to take a bunch of Lucas's money and bet that somebody's going to win the national championship, I would bet on Alabama every year because to me that's just the easiest bet in sports.
I would hand you the money.
Half the time you'd be right. So I always think Alabama's going to be great. I thought Miami would at least make a game out of that.
I did too. I thought it was.
I did.
I probably thought it was going to be a 14, closer game. I mean, they were out from the beginning.
And Saban never tries to run it up on people. They just
he start rotating the backups
Right.
in there, and
They don't have to try to run it up.
I
They've
know.
averaged a 29-point margin of victory in week 1 of the Nick Saban era.
It's
and without trying. They don't want. He doesn't care about
with
running it up.
a team of coaching staff that changes every year. This is amazing. No, everyone knows it's Nick Saban. He runs the offense and he runs the defense. No, we're going to run this system. You coaches, you come here, you must learn our system.
Yep.
I mean, O'Brien looks like a genius now. Really? He didn't look like that to the Texans. I'll tell you that right now. Man, that guy. Saban has his system down to a T. Guys are already disciplined. It looks like they don't even have new players. They have a whole slew of new players. Especially the quarterback has to be the leading candidate for the Heisman after week 1. He has to be. I mean, Lucas, did you see any quarterback that was better than the kid at Alabama?
No, he was really poised. I think Matt Corral of Ole Miss kind of lived up to his preseason Heisman dark horse expectations last night.
He played Louisville.
But
ACC did not have a good.
But Bryce Young looked
Bryce
like
Young,
a
yeah.
How about that
starter.
Alliance, though? How about that Alliance thing?
But did you see how he looks like he's been starting for the last 2 years?
He does.
Poised.
It was the best debut ever for an Alabama quarterback, wasn't it?
Yeah, most touchdowns.
Yeah, and I mean,
He said when they asked him after the game, he acted like, "Whoa, I didn't know that." Well, I had good teammates, good play call.
right?
That's
what you're supposed to
exactly.
say,
That's
yeah.
what you're supposed to say. Well, man, he was sitting there looking like, man, this is easy breezy, man. Oh man, and then Clemson, that front four by Georgia, hey. All those guys should go in the first round of the draft. I want to get just one of those guys. I mean, they were coming after, what's his name, DJ? What's his name? I don't even want to say his last name at Clemson. That he was a nervous wreck. He was dropping balls dead in his hands. They'd hike it to him. He'd drop it because he's up there looking around to get rid of the ball.
and he played a lot last year.
Oh, yeah, he played a couple of games. He looked like, oh, yeah, you look pretty good. Your first start in college was a little better than Trevor. Yeah, and then Georgia had guys missing. I mean, injured to some guys could play. I mean, man, oh wow! If they get their offense together, I'm putting Georgia has a great shot at the national title. They naturally going to play Alabama in the SEC championship. They get their offense going. Ooh-wee. Watch out.
Let's get
That's his name.
I think you just nailed that.
Yes, if everybody who calls that we take a call, they got to pronounce his name.
Okay, Evan in Nashville is first on the Mark
Clemson quarterback's name is, I'm going to give you a DJ what?
Here you
go. You're talking disrespect. I don't even want to try it.
What do you think
you got to take a stab at it, though, Evan.
Ululelo, man. That's what
that was close.
All right,
I know what it sounds like. I definitely don't know how to pronounce it.
All right. Evan wants to weigh in. You want to weigh in on Bama? Is that right? You're just laughing your way to another championship, it looks like.
Right. No, but my thing is, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about their strength and conditioning program and, asking Blaine primarily, how much do you think that plays a role into everything? And, I mean, is that part of the consistency, or is that just something that falls by the wayside at the end of the day?
No, the strength and conditioning is huge with every program.
Yep.
Now, you got to think about it. The strength and conditioning coach actually is the only coach that gets to interact with every single player. So not only do you have a better pulse of what makes these guys tick, what motivates them, where their mindset is. Also, he's doing a great job of, building them and getting them ready. But when you're getting the best of the best and you got them focused like Saban does with all these kids, man, it's pretty impressive to watch. And the discipline that they have is pretty incredible because he's recruiting all the 5-star guys who are all about, I'm the best, and then get them to wait and be patient and then go out there and execute like that is just woo. Yeah, along with, the strength and conditioning is the lifeblood of every program. Yeah. So if they're the best program, then they have the best strength and conditioning program. Yep.
And it just never stops. It doesn't matter which coaches leave. It doesn't matter which players
usually
leave.
At this point, I'm tired of a team like dominating. I got tired of the Bulls. You get tired of the Lakers, the Celtics. Yeah. You get tired of the ones that win all the time.
Brady.
Tom Brady. Eventually, I'm going to get there. I don't want him to win this year. Last year, I said they were going to win it. They did, before the season started. So I haven't gotten tired of Alabama. I don't know why. I think I'm fascinated, like how you can continually do this with 18 to 22-year-olds. Like, woo, man, that's impressive stuff. That's why he's the greatest.
Yes, that's absolutely. You get, like you said, the guys who've been the star to come and sit for 2 years at Alabama behind other 5-stars, and then as soon as they get going, they ramp it up, and it doesn't matter if their position coach has changed twice already while they've been there. They just keep it moving. We'll keep it moving next. Ben McKee, our buddy. It's been a minute since we've talked to him. We'll talk to Ben McKee, Volquest, and the Swain event next. Looking ahead to Pittsburgh. We'll look a little bit back at last week as well. Hey, man, let's roll. Let's have a good time today. It's Blaine and Mickey on 104.5 The Zone.
It's Thursday Night Football as Tom Brady and the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers host the Dallas Cowboys to start the NFL season. Coverage starts Thursday night at 6:30 on 104.5 The
I was after the game on Thursday night. I was very underwhelmed with Tennessee's passing offense against Bowling Green, and in large part because of, what we thought of Bowling Green coming into the game, just a lack of experience, a lack of talent. They were dreadful the previous season and for many seasons leading up to last year. But I don't know that Bowling Green team is as bad as we thought that they were. Not saying that they're going to go out and win the MAC, and not trying to make an excuse for Tennessee, but I'll be curious to see where they are in their conference here in about 2 months. But just based off of what we thought of Bowling Green coming into the game, I thought Tennessee left a lot to be desired on offense. They ran the ball well. They looked great running the ball. Offensive line looked good. Tyon Evans, Jabari Small, they looked great. Joe Milton looked good running around there a couple of different times. But the passing game left a lot to be desired, in my opinion, whether it was Joe Milton, whether it was the receivers. It just wasn't a great performance, in my opinion. Joe Milton missing wide open receivers down the field. It wasn't even the overthrows that concerned me the most, because I think that he'll reel those in. Cedric Tillman spoke with the media today and said that those were completions for the most part during fall camp, and that first game for Joe in Neyland Stadium, a little more adrenaline. Cedric Tillman expects that to be cleaned up and not a problem moving forward. And then the receivers also at times could not get open and struggled just to be physical on the perimeter, quite frankly. So I was very underwhelmed walking away, but going back and just kind of listening to the players, listening to the coaches, and watching it back a second time, I think most of the mistakes are correctable, particularly with the deep balls. I think Joe Milton will continue to settle into this offense that he's only played one game in. So I walk away thinking from the rewatch that Tennessee's passing game can get better, although I didn't necessarily feel great about it after Thursday night's performance.
Really one of the biggest stories to me this whole season, and it was always going to be a big story, but it seems to be even more obvious now, is how Josh Heupel coaches up Joe Milton. He's the guy they brought here. He was going to start. How much better can they, like you said, you said, hey, I watched it all. I felt better. I listened to what people said. It's correctable. But Joe Milton is going to be such a key for this team. How Josh Heupel and that staff, all of them, Alex Golish, everybody can coach him up will be such a huge, it's just huge for this season.
Absolutely. The progression of Joe Milton will dictate whether Tennessee has a successful first season under Josh Heupel or not. There's no debating Joe Milton's skill set. He has all the talent in the world, but just because you're a talented quarterback doesn't mean that you're going to be a productive quarterback. Right now, he's a great athlete back there in the pocket for Tennessee, but he's not a great passer. And I think that's what Josh Heupel is trying to get Joe Milton to, and they have a great track record. You all, I'm sure, talked about it all off season long. We talked about it all off season long here in Knoxville, but between Josh Heupel, Joey Halsley, the quarterback's coach, and offensive coordinator Alex Golish, Joe Milton is a prospect and a talented prospect that this staff should get the most out of, because they have proven so in the past. And if they do, that's the difference, in my opinion, between 6 and 7 wins or 4 and 5 wins. It begs the conversation, are Joe Milton's flaws correctable at this point? Because on one side of the coin, you can be super positive and say, hey, that was the first game in a new system for Joe Milton. He'll continue to get better. But on the other side of the coin, he is a fourth-year player, so is he what he is at this point? And you saw some mistakes against Bowling Green that you saw on his film at Michigan. So you kind of wonder if he just is what he is at this point. But it's going to take a heck of a coaching job for Josh Heupel to really get all the best out of Joe Milton, because he sure is capable, and he can truly swing Tennessee's season one way or another.
On with Ben McKee at Ben McKee 14, Swain Event, and Volquest. You can find him lots of places.
It's Joe Milton. But I wanted to ask you, the thing was concerning, I had never seen a quarterback with that kind of statuesque stance back there before he launched it. like that. Had you ever seen that? Because I think that can, cause some issues at times throughout a game. So I'm just wondering, is that what Hypo is teaching, or he's just not even messing with his mechanics as far as his arm? But I'm talking about more his feet.
Yeah, that was super noticeable.
I'd never seen that before.
Yeah, I was as puzzled by it as you sound right now, and I got a laugh out of him pointing downfield like he's Babe Ruth, calling a shot and directing receivers around to different places. And you like to see him keep his eyes downfield and try to orchestrate the receivers and try to get them to certain places to throw them open or get them open. You don't really see quarterbacks calling their Babe Ruth shot, but against Bowling Green, you can get away with it, right? And he did at times. Can he get away with it against Pittsburgh? Probably not. Definitely can't get away with it against a team like Florida coming up or Georgia and so on and so forth. But the feet and just kind of like he's standing in cement was concerning to me just because, like you said, you don't see that very often. And you hear coaches harp about footwork all the time and the importance of that. And it's very important at the quarterback position. I think it was a product of having all day to throw the football. I definitely don't think it's something that Josh Heupel is teaching because you go back and you watch Dylan Gabriel or Drew Lock and McKenzie Milton, and you didn't really see it with those guys. So I don't believe it's something that Josh Heupel and his coaching staff are teaching Joe. I just think it's a habit that he's going to have to break. Obviously, he's very agile and can move around and make plays with his legs, but against stiffer competition coming up, he just can't get too comfortable back there because he's not going to have that much time against more physical defensive lines.
Man, I guess looking back, Ben, with Ben McKee with Volquest, and that is defensively, was it the opponent or were they, better than advertised? I know I didn't see anything on the stat sheet, but it doesn't always tell the story with Jawan Mitchell, the transfer from Texas. But how did the linebackers look? And just the defense in total, what were your takeaways from them?
Yeah, I thought the defense looked better than I anticipated. Granted, you mentioned the skill level across the way, not great. Tennessee did what it was supposed to do, and I'll go back to what I talked about earlier about Bowling Green maybe being a little bit better than we anticipated because their quarterback had completed 44% of his passes last season, and he did not look at all like a guy who was coming off a year in which he completed just 44% of his passes. Apparently he was banged up last year and maybe finally healthy, and he's much better than he showed last year. But the main thing that I thought was a positive for Tennessee was that they limited the big plays. They had some busts with the wheel route coming out of the backfield and on some crossing patterns across the middle of the field, but they kept everything in front of them, and they didn't give up any explosive plays. And I think that's a huge step in the right direction from last year's unit because that was a team, a defense that all it did was give up explosive plays. So we'll see how it does against Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett is definitely going to test just how far this defense has come. But overall, I was impressed by Tennessee's defensive performance. I thought it was important to see that Tennessee won the line of scrimmage, and you saw Matthew Butler, Elijah Simmons, Amari Thomas, Jaquan Blakely. You saw those guys do that. And against teams like Bowling Green, you should dominate. You have to dominate, or else it's a big red flag. So to me, that was the most important aspect of the defensive performance was that the defensive line did not get pushed around.
Typically, the second week, you get those jitters out the way the first game. Most teams have big growth with their players, but you got a heck of an opponent in Pittsburgh who's a defensive-minded head coach. What do you expect going up against Pittsburgh at home? Do you expect them to win this game?
I think it's a total coin flip. You could tell me any result, and I would believe you, quite frankly, other than either team blowing the other out. That would be the only one that would surprise me a bit is if either team blew out the other. But I can see Pittsburgh winning this game. I can see Tennessee winning this game. I think it ultimately comes down to how big of a step does Joe Milton take from game one to game two, just like you spoke about. He wasn't bad against Bowling Green, but I think that performance against Pittsburgh get you beat. You can't miss as many wide open receivers down the field as he did. And again, that was a bigger concern for me personally, that he was missing multiple receivers open down the field that you can't necessarily see on the broadcast. That was more concerning than the deep balls that he missed to Cedric Tillman, because I do think that he will begin to connect on those. He's not going to be perfect, but I don't expect him to miss that many in one performance. So I think Joe Milton, he swings the season and he swings this game, and these games are going to swing Tennessee's season. So if he takes a step forward, I think Tennessee wins this game. If he doesn't, if he plays like he did last week, then I think Pitt comes out on top, because there's quite a difference in experience with these two teams. Bowling Green had 71 players on its roster that graduated high school within the last 2 years. And you look at the Pittsburgh depth chart, and it's the total opposite. Veterans all over the place, and Kenny Pickett is a very talented quarterback. Pat Narduzzi's team is going to be well coached. So Tennessee's going to have to come to play, and I think we're also going to find out a lot about Tennessee's defense. But I think ultimately it comes down to Joe Milton.
Where are we on the injury history real quick, McKee, with Cooper Mays? And I know the Byron Young kid, he didn't play, right? What's his situation?
Yeah, Byron Young's dealing with some NCAA eligibility issues, and he wasn't able to play last week because back in 2017 he played at an up-and-coming prep school in the Mobile area, and it went under 2 games in due to financial reasons, and Byron Young played in those 2 games, but obviously the rest of the season was canceled. So because he played in those 2 games, he has to sit out the first 2 games of this season because he had not played at the D1 level, or I don't know the technical way it works with the NCAA, because who knows how the NCAA works. It seems like they make it up as they go, but he's just dealing with some eligibility issues. Tennessee is trying to appeal and hope that they can get him back on the field for this Saturday's game against Pittsburgh, because he is Tennessee's best pass rusher alongside Tyler Barron and Roman Harrison, and Tennessee could really use him against a talented quarterback this weekend. So as of right now, he's not eligible, but Tennessee is working to get that appealed and get him ready to play. But there's no update in terms of when Tennessee could possibly hear back on that situation. In regards to Cooper Mays, he's a big question mark. Obviously sprained that ankle pretty good against Bowling Green and came back in the game for 3 plays, but immediately tapped out and could tell that he couldn't give it a go. And so it's just a matter of how good he feels as the week progresses. I don't think Tennessee really knows one way or the other whether he's going to play. He's just a big question mark at this point, but Tennessee could sure use him back because he is the linchpin of that offensive line.
All right, we're on with Ben McKee of Volquest and Swain event.
Hey, I saw Jamarian Gooch basically in the transfer portal. I noticed this about a week or so ago that he was ruled medically ineligible at Mizzou, and at one time, he was committed to Auburn, then he was committed to Tennessee, and then he wound up going to Missouri. Now he can't play there. And he's a local guy, I guess, Gallatin. What's going on with him, the big fella?
Yeah, he's got some medical issues that he's dealing with. He started at Gallatin, like you said. Actually came over here to East Tennessee and was at the Kings Academy for about a year and a half, and midway through his senior season transferred back to Gallatin, and that was in the midst of him being committed to Tennessee and signed with Tennessee, and the new staff came in, and it was a mutual parting of ways from a football standpoint. And I do believe that Tennessee was somewhat aware of a medical situation, and that just carried on there at Missouri. I don't recall the specific medical issue that he is dealing with, but he is medically – I mean, he just can't play football in the eyes of Missouri. So I found that interesting. I saw that before I hopped on here with y'all, that he had entered the transfer portal. Missouri deems him medically unfit to play. Can he find a home elsewhere? Obviously, you hope so for the kid. Playing college football is a 1 in a million chance opportunity, the opportunity of a lifetime. So you hope he can get healthy and sort that issue out and play elsewhere. But I imagine if Missouri had an issue with clearing him to play, he'd have an issue finding somewhere else to play as well.
Ben McKee, our guest. On the way out, I saw when the depth chart came out before the game last week, I saw people mentioning some names like Morvin Joseph, Aubrey Solomon. Those were names we used to talk about. I remember those guys getting there and having some fanfare. It's just a couple of names that kind of stood out to me of like, where are those guys?
Yeah, we get that question quite often here in Knoxville. Morven Joseph, I think he's just trying to develop at this point. It's his second season, so he's quite younger than Aubrey Solomon.
Yeah.
And Morven Joseph had a nice little fall camp. I mean, nothing that makes you really, question why he isn't playing. He's just still in that developmental phase, in my opinion. And then with Aubrey Solomon, he just kind of is what he is at this point. Obviously, he isn't the player that he was ranked to be coming out of high school. And now he has done a good job of shedding some weight over the offseason, dropped about 20 pounds, and he looks better. But I just think he's been surpassed on the depth chart and isn't the guy that we thought he was coming out of high school and transferring from Michigan.
Ben, good stuff, man. Always great to catch up with you. People can follow you at Ben McKee 14, and they can listen to and watch the Swain event, and then they can see and read your work at Volquest as well. Thank you, man.
Appreciate it, Ben.
Absolutely. Always appreciate y'all having me on.
Thank you.
Sir. Always good to catch up with Ben McKee. When we come back, Cuzzo Mike is in the Zone TV chat. He sent us his ding dong of the week, and this is going to be a bunch of people's ding dong. Maybe we should go ahead and get our ding dongs ready for the next segment.
Oh, I didn't know a lot of people could have the same ding dong.
I think a lot of people share this ding dong. Yeah.
Oh, that Lucas has wrinkled clothes on today?
No, the Lucas is the ding dong for several reasons today. But yeah, Blaine, like, hey man, did you just pick those up out of the floor?
Yeah,
Lucas
Schaefer
is
too.
the
This
second
morning.
person that's asked me that today.
Day in the life.
Buck busting his hump for not using the button bar. We can explain all that. We'll get into that next. You want to share a ding dong with us, you can. Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline is open 615-737-1045.
I got an Nashville SC shirt in my car.
With an expanding SEC coming, Coach Josh Heupel is out to bring you a much improved fall season.
This is Coach Josh Heupel. Follow all of the action of Tennessee football all season here on your home of the Vols, 104.5 The Zone.
With WynnBET. We've got your ticket to every straight bet, parlay, teaser, and props wager, all right at your fingertips. The WynnBET app is easy to use, so play with the most trusted brand in the industry. Download the app for free on Google Play or the Apple Store today. It's time to get off the sidelines and put yourself in the game. Win with WynnBET. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee to bet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Renter's Warehouse. Yeah, you've heard me talk about them before, and they are back again. Listen, when you sell a house once, right, you're excited. A lot of people talking about selling their home and getting that big payday, but
Had to. That's a ding dong in itself. Even though some of the hits were, hey, they were, man, Ole Miss looked like, they look really good. Now you got to look at your opponent, but they look physical. I mean, when they hit you, they were stopping those guys in their tracks.
Yep.
And going the opposite direction. So I was there. Even the little 4-night DB, I looked him up, 5'7". He was bringing heat.
It's like your friend Mark McMillan sized right there.
Yeah, but he was bringing that heat, man. He was hitting dudes and they was stopping. I'm like, oh man, what is that weight program like? I need to get back into the weight room because he would have read me over. Then that one running back, Snoop, he just ran over everybody.
I have a guy, Brad Logan, who covers Ole Miss, who tweeted he's their fourth string running back, Snoop.
Yep, Snoop Doggy Dog.
I don't follow. And if you're an Ole Miss fan, I know there are some in this market. He said, and this guy is fourth string. They couldn't do anything with him. Did you see him lower his? I mean, just pow.
Yeah. I felt bad for the DB because he was up there fighting off a block and then right to the play. I was like, oh,
that was like a drive-by.
People don't see all that. They just see that he got ran over like a dump truck, man.
He was engaged until the last second.
That's the worst. That happened to the best. I just usually just hang on for life and my head hits the ground first, the back of my head. Like, oh, don't hit so hard.
That dude got the hammer dropped on him.
That's just absolutely horrible. That's just the worst. Yeah. There's a couple ding dongs there, man. With all of the kicking guys out, man. Wow, yeesh, that's my ding dong. Then I'm sure there's a whole bunch out there. Also, another ding dong for all those people. And my man just posted it too. Matt Batchelor. Is that how you pronounce his last name? He works here.
Brett Batchelor. Yeah.
Batchelor. Yeah. Brett. His name Brett. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody talking about they want some Bama? You better stop that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
You don't want them.
Do not, Matt. Yeah, do not say that, man. Say, remember Vanderbilt said that? I know you better stop all that. They should just say they want a whole bunch of more chains. They better quit messing around with. Bama is not playing. Them a grown men out there. Those guys, wow.
John Michael didn't offer a ding-dong, but he said in the zone chat, can we just talk about that? It's the saddest Vandy loss I have seen. My buddy had his son there on an unofficial visit.
Ooh.
If you're Clark Lee, though, I mean, you actually got unofficially visited. You got recruited for athletics. I didn't. So, I mean, you know more about what that's like. You had a son who got recruited.
You can say that, this is why we want you to come here.
Right.
See what happened out there?
We need you. We need you.
You flip it around, yeah.
Right. You can fix this, brother. We got
we
to
want
have
you to be part of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or if you're Clark Lee and you're Barton Simmons and those guys, don't you have to tell them, hey, man, can you get here tomorrow? Can you go ahead and graduate? Like that quarterback up at Ohio State, we need you yesterday, man. Come on. You're going to fix this for us.
Yeah, and I like all of that. But it's the way that they lost in this game where they just looked like they were the FCS team. And ETSU looked like they were the SEC team. I mean, man, they were physical. They were hunting. And they just wanted it, man. It was, wow. That was tough. That was tough. Yeah, because I always want Vandy to do well. I really do. I just because the odds are against them.
Yeah.
I mean, so you just always okay, can they be in a game and then, beat them some kind of way? I just think, man, I don't know. They don't. I remember you always want them to run the Army Navy type option.
I want them to run the option. And
I want them to throw around the yard. I want the run and shoot or whatever you want to call it, RPO or
right.
all
Either
of that
run and
crap.
play every 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Or go and find yourself a bunch of 260-pound offensive linemen who can run. And you could have had Keenan Reynolds. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to Navy. That may have been his calling to serve his country, and I love the kid. But you could probably get some of these quarterbacks who go to the service academy or something similar because you'd be like, hey, you come to Vanderbilt and run the same offense. Come here and run it.
Yeah, that's
little offensive linemen who are made to run that system because they're out there.
Well, it's just interesting that when you hear, Clark Lee say, yeah, we're going to out-physical. I'm like, well, how are you going to out-physical guys in the SEC and your guys aren't as big as them?
Yeah.
I mean, it just,
You're not going to.
I don't know. I mean, and they have gotten away with it, to be honest. That's why you think you can. So you have to out-execute them, and you have to be ahead of the curve on what, plays will work versus certain schemes and systems. That's why I think it's easy to use what you're saying is the option because it's hard to prepare for kids in a week's time, really 3 days you have. Get to practice. And somebody's going to blow an assignment eventually. You're going to see your reads, and then, the quarterback may have the ball, the running back, fullback may have it, the tailback may have it on the pitch. Somebody's going to blow an assignment, so you got a shot in there. Georgia Tech, that's what you're running, the old Georgia Tech. Yeah, so, either that or throw it around the yard. And, man, did you see Hypo? That's what I meant to ask Ben McKee. Like, what does he call this offense? I mean, every time I saw it was 30 seconds on the clock when they were snapping the ball, and those kids are trained to give the ball back to the referee. They're running. I'm like, man, this thing is on warp speed.
Yep.
And I'm like, ooh, man, and they were getting tired. And you see a lot of players are rotating in and out. Only thing weren't, the linemen, offensive linemen weren't. D linemen were. They DBs were too. So, yeah, they put some different receivers out there at times. But, yeah, that thing is on. I don't know if anybody can duplicate the speed that he was going with that offense there at Tennessee with Heupel.
Right, and you can't prepare for that. You can't. Like you said, you got 3 days. You can't.
No,
there's no way you can prepare yourself mentally, physically.
First game, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right.
But after that, nah. Yeah, you got to get them to go some 3 and outs, and then the defense is going to start getting tired because they're on the field too much, and they're going to break at some point.
Let's get Carl's calling from Monteagle. Let's get his ding-dong on the air right quick. Carl, give us your ding-dong, man. How's it going? Thanks for calling the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline.
It's going pretty good. I'm eating lunch right now.
I like it.
Okay.
My ding-dong is the running into the kicker penalty. It was 4th and 9. Notre Dame was punting, and the Notre Dame kicker got kneed by a helmet. And because it was his kicking leg, it was only a 5-yard penalty. If I was a ruthless coach, I would tell everybody, if it's 4th and anything past 5, take the kicker out.
Now you my kind of guy.
Man, that's a violent a violent ding-dong from Carl there.
Yeah, that was. That's basically just ruined what's the kicker who got cut? It ruined his shot of making the Titans. Now, I'm sure somebody didn't try to take him out on purpose or anything like that, but he ran into him, messed up his ankle, and now he's out of the league.
He was doing
the leading candidate.
That dude was doing a good job.
Oh, man. See? Luck. That is luck of the draw, and that was – so, yeah, I get what he's saying about the ding-dong stuff.
We can keep the ding-dong talk going on the other side. Lucas can share his. I'll share mine as well. We got
share your ding-dongs when you come back.
100%.
I think everybody's going to be watching and paying attention on while we're streaming here.
Hold on for ding-dongs. It's Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
Get Jason Martin and Ramon Foster on J. Mart and Ramon. Tomorrow morning from 6 to 10 on 104.5 The Zone.
No one wants to go to the vehicle repair shop. It's like going to the doctor for an operation. The typical first reaction is, how do I know that I really need what they say
Tell yourself all day it feels like Monday, but Monday's gone.
What did you just say?
Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Oh, okay. Man, ooh, that was a mouthful.
Yeah.
Speaking of a mouthful, this is we still supposed to finish our kingdom.
Let's transition there back into the
That was a great transition.
Ding Dong of the Week segment that picks up from that first hour.
Lucas just disappeared when I said that. I think he's on the floor. No, you and Lucas are supposed to give your ding dong. What are you talking about? See, your mind is in the gutter. Oh man, that man, hey man, did you push the button? Ding dong. Did you push the button in there to record all that?
Yeah, I pushed the button.
Okay, well, tell us your ding dong of the week there now.
Yes, we're picking this up from the first
hour. You have
hour.
one yet? Oh, okay,
Mark's,
he's taking a call.
Mark's, yes, of course he is now. Mark's, I'm literally seeing spots. I'm laughing so hard. I'm seeing spots right now.
That's what I used to feel. See you after I hit Jerome Bettis or something.
Corey Dillon.
Corey Dillon. I'm like, oh man, dude, that dude runs hard. Whoa, he is hard. I better come with some more hitman because that one there hurt.
I just learned I could read.
You can't read.
No, I try to hit people so low that I could read because, you used to pull up the tongue of your shoe and it have the logo. Shoes now, the tongue doesn't come up.
Right,
but shoes
right.
used to have like the logo. I would try to read it. I wanted to hit people so low. I tried to hit them in the feet.
Oh yeah, you were trying to tie their shoelaces. That's what I used to tell Doorknob. Samari Rowe.
Doorknob.
I'm like, hey man, just dive at his ankle, make him stutter. I'm coming.
That's it.
Yeah,
although nobody was coming on my team, but still, I was at least I wasn't going to get myself knocked out by somebody's knee.
Oh, that's happened. That's what happened with Eric Red in the Ravens game. Oh man, he kneed me in the third quarter. Boom! I was like, whoa! I felt like Rocky Balboa. Like, boom!
Oh,
dude,
man.
where am I?
Oh,
I'm like, that dude's knee and head has to be the hardest person I've ever hit.
Eric Red.
Oh my gosh. He was looking at me laughing.
That dude ran so hard.
Oh, yeah, he ran so hard he ran himself up out the league.
He sure did. Pretty quick.
Yeah.
He used himself up. He gave a lot of punishment, though.
Yeah, he did.
He
got me a couple times.
He was strong. Anyway, you can Google Eric, not Eric, but Eric. It had a T on the end. Eric Rhett.
Oh, yeah. It did. Oh,
okay. Ding Dong.
Florida guy, man. He was hard.
Ding Dong of the Week doesn't have a T on the end, but Mark Spain Real Estate does. They sponsor this segment each week, and it always seems to start slow, and then the segment just starts to grow slowly, and then it gets bigger and bigger each week, the Ding Dong of the Week segment. So we've got phone calls, we've got Lucas's Ding Dong, we've got my Ding Dong.
And I got another Ding Dong.
You've got two.
Yeah, I got another.
Let's hit the phones right quick because Eli has been at this for a while. He's been waiting, Eli in the Burrow, with his Ding Dong of the Week on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. What's up, Eli?
Hey, fellas. Just want to say I love the show, but I want to nominate myself as the Ding Dong of the Week for believing that this Vandy team could do any kind of good on the football field after what they did last year. I bought into the hype way too early. And now I'm going to nominate myself for Ding Dong of the Week.
Eli, let me ask you this.
There was a lot of people like that, though.
Yeah, everybody believes whatever your team is, you always want to believe in the offseason. Everybody's got hope until week one, and you start to get a look at who your team is. But if somebody had said, hey, what's the best you think this team can do? Even at your most optimistic, what did you think Vandy was going to do in year one of Clark Lee? Or what?
Or beat ETSU, though.
Yeah, well, other than that, what did you think record-wise?
I was thinking at least like 3 wins, maybe 4.
Yeah.
Just beat some FCS schools,
See, Eli, thank you for the call. I can hear the hurt in his voice.
Yeah,
here's the
that
thing,
sounds
Blaine.
about right.
That guy wasn't unrealistic at all.
No,
I was thinking 3 or 4 wins. And he still sounds like somebody just shot his dog, that guy.
Well, I think they shot his ding dong.
Well, the offensive coordinator isn't even calling plays. Football Scoop came out with that, and then I guess some asked Clark Lee about it. The passing game coordinator is calling the plays. They hired a guy to be the OC. He's not calling the plays.
He just whoa. Stop!
Just came out today.
Wait. Is he calling the run plays and the other person is calling the passing plays?
No, it just came out today.
No, I want names. It's always best to name names.
Oh, this happened right as we were coming
While you're
here.
looking, Lucas can give us this ding dong.
So Miami down 27-0 finally hits a bright spot in the game against Alabama. They force a fumble. They take out the turnover chain. They're celebrating the turnover.
Oh, right.
They have like 2 full-time staffers, I guess, just in charge of the turnover chain. And they crown the guy. They put the chain on him, even though they're down 4 touchdowns. And then it gets overturned, no turnover, and they had to put the chain back.
Yeah, that's it. The player had to take it off his neck and give it. That was horrible. But
here you go. This is from
go.
Aria Gerson, who's the new Vanderbilt writer for the Tennessean. Clark Lee said that pass game coordinator Joey Lynch is calling the plays and has been doing so since the first week of preseason practice. That's not the OC. Pass game coordinator. So he's calling the runs and the passes.
The passing game coordinator is calling the running and the pass. So why does he have the title?
If you're him, aren't you asking that same question?
Well, because sometimes the title's even more important than pay. Because you want to say that you were the OC.
Yeah, well, he can say that he's calling the plays because it's in the paper. It's on Twitter. Football Scoop had that right before we came on, and then Clark Lee did his press conference. Somebody asked him, and he said, "Yeah, that's the guy who's calling the plays."
Yeah, okay. Well, just for sake of information, his dad was my offensive coordinator at Ball State. Years ago.
Yesterday. Yes, not that long ago.
Years ago.
We have more ding-dongs on
we
the
got
phone.
more? Okay, yeah, because I'll wait till the end to give you mine. But it is a Vandy deal, too.
Kyle in Savannah, Georgia. Man, beautiful Savannah. What's going on, Kyle?
How you doing?
Across the country, man. That's right.
What's going on?
Yeah, all right. So I have a double-decker ding-dong of the week.
Double-decker ding-dong.
Yeah, so obviously the big one for me for the weekend was definitely UConn football with Randy Edsel. What a joke. Yeah. They literally fired the guy about 2-3 years ago and then brought him back. Yeah. Wow, that's the definition of insanity. Expecting the different results but using the same system, right. That was a joke. But this is a bigger one. My ding-dong of the year goes to Bud Light. Bud Light screwing fans over and trying to sell that they won tickets to regular season games, but trying to push preseason games on people. I know there's fans out there that won the Bud Light Stimmy tickets contest, and they were pushing preseason tickets on these fans when in the guidelines they said they were giving regular season tickets. So my ding-dong of the year goes to Bud Light because they deserve it.
A drunken ding-dong.
Right, a drunken ding-dong is a dangerous ding-dong.
Lucas just looks slack-jawed and dumbfounded in there. Do you know anything about the old switcheroo there?
No, I do not.
Okay, I don't either.
I got nothing to back that up.
Yeah, Lucas said he had some Bud Lights yesterday. So
let's get Will in Nashville. My ding-dong, by the way, is Edo for saying, "Look at your sissy blue shirt," and then losing to UCLA. They turned this into selling T-shirts with sissy
that
blue.
was Jim Rome's ding-dong in his CBS update about 10 minutes ago.
Hey, man,
they have a ding-dong.
No one is funnier than Jim Rome.
Ding-dong.
Oh, okay. I was going to say because we're the originators of the ding-dongs.
Let's get Will in Nashville who wants to share his Mark Spain real estate ding-dong of the week.
Hey, guys. What's up?
Hey,
what's
man.
up?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
yes,
go.
Sir.
We got you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I want to give a collective ding-dong to the ACC conference after the way they started the season.
Yeah, they started off really bad, that's for sure.
Will, thank you. Is there any more to the ding-dong, or are you stopping there?
There's the big dog, I guess, ding-dong out of the conference because they scheduled one good game, and now they have no chance for redemption.
Yeah.
Yep. What happened?
Yeah, and how about the whole alliance? But the ACC took it on the chin this weekend. I will say this, the reverse ding-dong, Mackenzie Milton, the kid who was at UCF, he hasn't played in a game in like 3 years. And he went through a similar, I don't know if his leg looked like Alex Smith's leg. Never Google that, people. But he'd had a similar situation where they're like, hey, you're not going to walk again. And then he played football in a game.
2 years later.
He was good. So
he was a really good player.
Made Brian Kelly want to execute all his players.
Now, I heard that live, too.
Do you guys
that is not – he knew once he said it how it was going to – he tried to backtrack it. Yeah, but he said we didn't execute.
Do you guys know where that came from, though?
John McKay, right?
Yeah, when the Buccaneers were losing all their games in 1976, somebody asked John McKay, who was the Buccaneers coach, what about your team's execution? And he just said, I'm in favor of it. That was the whole thing.
Right. It just didn't land.
No, he did. It was a swing and a miss. He did not land the plane. He swerved all over the runway there.
Oh man, we no more ding dongs. I have one more. Should I wait till we come back? It's to Vandy, but it's an idea more so than a ding dong.
We got Coach Mack next, so let's
okay,
get all our ding dongs out in the open.
I was looking up, after they lost, and I go, man, dang, I wonder how much they paid ETSU. What do you think they had to pay ETSU for beating them?
I only know this because I know this.
What?
It's like 415,000.
Yep, 415,000. So here's my idea.
Don Davenport
You can tell me if this is a ding dong or not. Here's my idea for Vandy paying teams. Instead of paying paying ETSU 450 to play, offer them $1 million if they lose, and then they pay Vandy $5K if they win.
Oh.
Yes. That's what I would do. That's what they need to start doing outside of the SEC. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Idea, man. You guys listen over at Vandy? You guys are a lot smarter than me over there. So I think you guys need to start thinking about that over these next 2 or 3 years.
Here's the thing. If they would have had to have flown. If they had flown, you would have paid them more money than that. That's just because they're in state. Usually those games are 600, 650 or something like that. For a 1AA team, and for a Division I team, it's well over $1 million.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right. Coach Mack, he's Division I all the way. He'll join us next to talk Titans. It's game week. And, Nick, before we get Coach Mack, let's squeeze in the phone call with Nick. We'll do that when we come back. Then Coach Mack, it's Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone.
After a long offseason, training camp, and 3 fake football games, the 2021 Titans regular season is here. And the Arizona Cardinals are making their way to Music City for the opener.
Yes!
Coverage starts Sunday morning at 9, and then the kickoff at noon on your home for Titans football. 104.5 The Zone.
Renter's Warehouse. Yeah, you've heard me talk about them before. Spain Real Estate Hotline, or you can hit them up at Titans Radio if you've got questions. Before we get Coach Mack, let's get Nick in Cross Plains, though, and finish up our Ding Dong of the Week segment. Nick, thank you for holding.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Great.
Man. What's going on?
Good deal. I had actually two of them because one of them quite killed my parlay that I really didn't like very well. Washington State. Okay, we all know JG. He looked sort of the norm as he did here at Tennessee. 15-3 in the fourth quarter. So I look back, I take a break, and my parlay is gone. I'm like, no. So in another one, this may be surprising. It's Florida State. Florida State come back, I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, 18 points in the fourth quarter. Took it into overtime and lost by 3. Now, I didn't catch the end of that game.
They missed a field goal.
Yeah, they missed a field goal. Okay. So I'm sitting here thinking, maybe I have to look it up, but missed a field goal. Oh, man, they fought real hard to get back, but I didn't see that coming. Thanks for taking my call.
Nick, appreciate the call. Yeah, it's tough, man.
They would have won it too, man. Gee.
A missed field goal in Florida State.
Yep.
I'll tell you who never misses any kicks. Coach Mack, he joins us now. Brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Need great health care coverage at an affordable price. Let Farm Bureau Health Plans coach you through it. They got you covered. Coach, when you were a young man out in Texas playing high school football, did you ever strap on the old kicking shoe and, boot a couple of field goals in the game?
Well, you were right, Mickey, in your first. I never missed a kick because I never attempted one.
Hey, I got to ask you. I got to ask you this.
Yeah.
This popped up on my phone today, and I thought, I'm going to ask Coach Matt because I know he has a story. On this date in 2003, Anquan Bolden played his first game in the NFL, and, Coach, he only had 217 receiving yards against the Lions.
Steve Mariucci up there when Mooch was the head coach at the Lions, and they were just into their new place. And yes, I mean, Anquan made a debut and really set the tone for what he was going to be throughout his National Football League career. The quarterback was Jeff Blake. They wouldn't let me re-sign Jake Plummer, if you'll remember. He went to Denver, and so we got Jeff Blake. And Jeff Blake came in there at the end of his career, still had a great arm, but Jeff Blake, and Blaine's sitting there, he can tell you, threw one of the prettiest deep balls in the history of deep balls.
The best. That thing was like a punt.
Oh boy, but he still had an arm, and I tell you what, a couple of crossing routes he threw behind Anquan when Anquan would have had even more yardage. That game, but Anquan showed up that game. You know what though? If you ask Anquan Bolden about that game, because he and I have talked about it before since, and I'll tell you what, he cares nothing about the rookie record that he set. He cares nothing about that. He's more upset about at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, he dropped a punt that they recovered and took in to win the game. And so I'm just telling you, Anquan Bolden, there's no doubt in my mind. Yeah, that was one of the better draft picks I ever stood on the table for. No doubt in my mind, when he stepped across the lines in the National Football League, he was going to be a full-grown man from the start, and he proved it there in Detroit that first game.
It's interesting, Coach, because people always try to find somebody to comp everybody with. And when the A.J. Brown came into the league, there were some people who comped him to Anquan Bolden. We got a couple of years of A.J. Do you see some of that?
Well, I was the one that comped him. I mean, go back and listen to my draft reports.
I thought that was right.
I still got every draft book I've done since '86, and in the column next to AJ when I was doing it, I put in parentheses, reminds me of Q, is what we call Anquan Bolden. Yes, tough, physical at the catch point, relentless off the line of scrimmage, would not be denied the football, and with the ball in his hand, he was a nightmare for second and third level defenders. So the answer is absolutely yes.
Good stuff. Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack on Blaine and Mickey.
Man, Coach, how exciting is it going to be to get back into the stadium with all the fans and hysteria and all the noise and interacting with the fans in the game in the NFL, especially with the Titans, of course?
Yeah, Blaine, look, last year was so unusual. What's this, my 36th season in a row in the National Football League? And last year, doing that game in Denver, that second Monday night game, to a completely empty stadium, and then empty stadiums for most of the season was one of the strangest experiences I've ever had in over 650 NFL games that I've been involved in. Getting the fans back, even when we had 8,000 for the first time when they started letting percentages back in, it felt like wow, at least this is starting to feel like game day. Again, look, fans are a huge part of it. I know that you guys and our listeners watched the collegiate games last weekend. How great was that to see? How great was that at Camp Randall in Wisconsin? How great was that?
Jump around,
down
Coach.
there in
Tennessee
at Nayland? Yeah, how great was that in Blacksburg, Tennessee, just to watch the fans. Look, fans are a huge part of the National Football League landscape, and I'm so glad they're back in it. I can't wait to hang out of the window in the broadcast booth and give fist bumps to fans.
Man, I know. I'm sure the fans can't wait to interact with you as well. I guess before we get started, what are the NFL, protocols for COVID this year? I know the Titans have a couple guys that's supposed to be coming off of COVID. I think the lineman there. But will they be able to play games if you have a breakout, or will they have to forfeit? What are the guidelines for that, or do we know yet?
Yeah, we know. I mean, everybody's going to get tested daily now, and if you test positive and cannot get two negative tests within a 24-hour period, then you've got to sit out. Just like what Coach Vrabel had to do. That's what's going to happen. Now, if you're unvaccinated, you're immediately gone for 10 days, regardless of what goes on. And so, to me, they've made it very clear what the protocols are, and we know what they're going to be. I think, I don't know exactly when these guys, and see, it's if guys go on, there's one or two categories. If you test positive, or if you've been in a contact tracing element with someone that has tested positive. And so I don't know what the specifications are of the two guys we still got on, but I think that we're expecting guys to be back.
Right. Well, and I was also, the other layer to that I didn't ask you is, will they be able to move games like they did last season, or that's out the window?
No. Mm-hmm. No, out the window. They are not moving games in the 18 weeks and the 17-game regular season that we're playing now. They've already stated they're not moving games. As far as they're not going to move weeks, they're not going to switch games. They're not doing any of that. That's just not in it for this year.
This is a two-part question before I throw it back to Mickey, and that is, what's the focus of the staff if it was you, with this extra little time, maybe a day or two of time, and what's some of the biggest challenges week one? Because as a former player, I would always be a little uncomfortable because I relied on instinct and studying film and tape. And sometimes they don't show you what they did last year. They may be doing something a little bit different, even though if it's the same staff as well as the same players. So kind of take us through that process from a coach's viewpoint as well as a player viewpoint.
Yeah, well, I mean,
plays, all kind of stuff.
Yeah, adjustments in the National Football League are part of it. I mean, you reach this level of coaching and playing, being able to make adjustments on the run. I mean, there are no excuses like Scott Frost liked to put out at Nebraska after they first lost to Illinois, saying, you know what, they did something different in their spring game, and we weren't ready for that. Well, please. So anyway, that's not an excuse in the National Football League. And so what you do, you watch the tape, you get your players prepared. But you know as well as I do, Blaine, let's just say defensively. First thing you're going to do, you're going to have some default defenses to go to if they start doing something different offensively, so that you get a chance to regroup on the side. Settle down defensive calls that you can automatically make, that if you're well prepared, that's what you always are going to have. And then depending on how much time you have during, in between series, it's not just halftime adjustments. It's hard to make halftime adjustments, the National Football League, because it's only 12 minutes. I mean, so you've got to be making adjustments series to series to series. But this first game, you try to put as much preparation as a staff into what you think they might do, but you always tell your players going into it, look, the thing that you're going to have to rely on is technique and some of our base defenses if we get anything early, and it's the same thing offensively. If they start running pressure packages and they start giving us different looks over there, we've got some things that can counteract nearly everything that they do. May cut down on our call sheet, but it's not going to put us in a panic mode.
Keeping it real here, giving us the business. Coach Mack with the Mac Attack.
Coach, wrote this question down a couple of weeks ago because I wanted to make sure to ask you week one. As a head coach, as a position coach, no matter where you were coaching or what position you held on a staff, what were your biggest concerns on week one heading into the first game?
Well, I mean, as a coach, you want to be sure your team's prepared. And it dovetails a little bit on what Blaine's question was, because you don't know either. You know, as a coach, I mean, you know enough with the information that you have, but you don't know exactly what they're going to do. And the other thing is, and it's not something you can control as a coach completely, but you can do it, is to how healthy your team is going into this. Because once you start training camp, or really after you get out of OTAs, your main focus is to get everybody that you can, your best players, to the max of your ability, healthy, to that first ball game. And that was always something that was on my mind constantly, trying to do that, along with the mental and physical preparation that you have to have going into every opponent that you're going to face, and especially against an uncommon opponent. We're starting out with an NFC West team, somebody that we are not familiar with. So there's always a little bit more mental that goes into that kind of thing.
And maybe the best conference coach, top to bottom, NFC West, right? I
don't think there's a maybe to it. I think they are. I mean, I really do. I mean, they are from top to bottom when you really start looking at what they have and the point as to where they are in the development of those teams, which is critical, in the National Football League. I think you are 100% right. I think the NFC West is from top to bottom the strongest division in football right now.
Well, it's interesting, too, Coach. You got Kyler Murray coming in, who passed for almost 4,000 yards last year. He ran for 11 touchdowns. How in the world do you kind of prepare yourselves? It's game one. It's going to be hot. You're going to have to chase that little dude around all over the place on Sunday.
Well, you're going to have a plan for him, and a real definitive plan. I mean, I've been involved all my coaching years in those off-schedule quarterbacks that you had to have a definitive plan for. And so they will have one for him. But here's the other thing about him when you start watching him, and I've done extensive work on him since the summer. The guy's not just a runaround guy. That guy's got a cannon on his shoulder. I mean, he can spin it. You're talking about a Major League Baseball prospect, as far with an arm. I mean, this guy can throw it. I mean, and he can make all the throws. The other thing is, even with his short stature, he can make all the throws off of any platform. He does not have to be standing in a perfect quarterback stance to make a throw anywhere on the field. This guy's a real challenge physically for a defense.
Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack here on Blaine and Mickey.
Yeah, Coach, I guess give us, besides the quarterback, give us some things you think may be the keys early in the week to the Titans getting a victory versus Arizona.
Well, first of all, against this offense, you can't disregard the run. Everybody thinks it's just spread them out and spin it. Well, Kingsbury came into the league thinking he can do that, but he's changed his philosophy a little bit. And I think how they handle the run with Chase Edmonds, and then they got James Conner there for a reason, right? So they're going to use that dude too. And what they can use him in, I mean, he's a power type of a back, but Chase Edmonds can also split out. So don't disregard the running backs. I know everybody gets all caught up in what they have at receiver, which they do. And look, guys, DeAndre Hopkins is on that team. Do I need to say anything else? I mean, we know what he is. I mean, we've seen what he is. We've got two former Texans, in fact, two of their best to deal with, on either side of the football going into this game. But DeAndre Hopkins is a big deal. And then A.J. Green, and I've got a lot of sources there in Phoenix, say that he's healthy and he's still got something left. So we know what he is. And the other thing is they're going to run that Christian Kirk kid in the slot. So offensively, he and that Rondale Moore kid have been making some waves up there, And here's the thing. Their offensive line, I really like their left tackle, DJ Humphries. I think this guy is a solid guy. And the thing they went out and got Rodney Hudson for a center, and I think that's going to help that offensive line quite a bit. So that's the offensive side of it. If you want to move to the defensive side of it, they play a 3-4, but they play a multiple 3-4. They've got big dudes in the middle. That number 95, Leaky Fotu, big dude. All right. I mean, he's a big dude in there. And to me, their nose tackle, Rashard Lawrence, number 90. He's somebody that we're going to have to get a hat on. And J.J. Watt, I look for J.J. Watt to be a rotational guy quite a bit to keep him healthy. But for early in the season, even at this advanced age, he's going to be a problem, and he's going to be a matchup problem. The 94 Zach Allen had a great year last year. I like their defense and Marcus Golden, number 44, that plays that Sam backer when they move around. This guy from Missouri, I liked him coming out of Missouri. He is just a high energy and a consistent dude off the edge. And so those guys you're going to have to take care of. They've got two really, really long and fast young linebackers behind the line of scrimmage in Zaven Collins and Isaiah Simmons. Now, they may not have the best eye discipline yet in their young career, but they're long and they can shrink the middle of the field with that length and speed. So to me, this is a good football team. It really is. And it's a good football team physically. I think they're a fast football team on both sides of the ball. That always presents problems.
Oh, man, you didn't even mention, don't forget the safety, Buda Baker. Man, I just want you to say Buda.
No, I was going to save BB for the end because this guy is their eraser. Okay, wow. He is their consistent eraser. He is their best defensive player without a doubt. He's their best defensive player, and to me, he's a top 20 player in the National Football League. I love his game. He's physical. He's instinctive. He can lap. He can drop down. He can drop down and make tackles in the alley. He is the eraser for that defense. So I was saving BB till the end there, Blaine.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm the original BB, but yeah. Anyway, not just kidding. I'm not even on the radar. But I know you love ball. This has nothing to do with Arizona, but TSU lost the game versus Grambling. But did you watch a little bit of that game? If you did, what was your observation?
I watched every second of it.
Yeah.
I watched every second of it, and to me, the defense I thought was fairly impressive, especially when the one kid that was suspended for fighting in the spring game, their best defensive front guy wasn't available. I thought the defense they've got to settle on a quarterback, Blaine. If you've got three quarterbacks that you're rotating in there, how many they have 18 penalties in that game. You get 18 penalties. Who are you going to beat? The game was 16-10. It was a close game, and they kept it close. But to me, just watching it, as a very interested observer, offensively, they've got issues if they don't settle on a quarterback.
Got you.
Coach Mac
attack.
Hey, tonight, Mac Talk, you and Rhett Bryan, right, 6 p.m., right here on The Zone and on Titans Radio. I can't wait.
Live. Here we go again. Mac Talk, thanks for all of our great listeners in the area and from whoever dials into 104.5 The Zone. We get calls from everywhere. It's been very successful. Just gives people a chance to engage, with myself and get a chance to engage with Rhett and get some little deeper analysis of what's going to go on with the Titans and also throughout the league. So it's live. We don't tape Mac Talk. We do it live, and I'm looking forward to it. I love interacting with the fans. To Blaine's point, when we started this thing, that's why I can't wait to see him in the stadium on Sunday.
Coach, I love the show, and I can't wait to hear it tonight. We'll have it on while we eat our family dinner. I can promise you that. Looking forward to hearing it.
Well, first of all, don't make Christina mad because you have Mac Talk on when the kids are trying to get settled at the dinner table. I don't want any of that to be the blame on me, Mickey.
No way. Rhett and Coach Mac always welcome for dinner at our house. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thanks.
Hey, when we come back, I got a stat about Jerry Rice that involves Julio Jones that will blow your mind. It's Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
Coming up tomorrow with Buck Rising.
Our Week 1 coverage of the Titans and the Cardinals will roll on. 11:15, Bud Dupree, Titans outside linebacker, will join us. We'll hear from the head coach from St. Thomas Sports Park as well. Game week, baby. Nothing better.
The Buck Rising Show. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on 104.5 The Zone.
at like 3 in the morning if you can't sleep. Peter Burns is a SEC commentator. Alan's our guy from Sportsline. Both great dudes, great follows on Twitter. I'm sure Alan's like, wait, if he's listening, hey, man, thanks. But Peter Burns had a tweet, and he said, what's your favorite random sports stat that blows your mind every time you see it? You know me and stats, Blaine.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much I love random stats. I live for it. So I always try to bust Blaine and Dice on the Titans pregame or postgame with some stat. Well, several people responded to this with something about Jerry Rice. So here was the first one, and this was Kyle Madsen, I believe, who responded. If Jerry Rice didn't catch another pass after leaving the 49ers, he'd still be the all-time leading receiver in yards by over 2,000. If he never played for anybody else, the Raiders, Seahawks, remember he went everywhere after that, he would still be number one. Wow. So this is what Mike Sando said, and here's the tie to Julio Jones. Julio Jones is the closest active player. Larry Fitzgerald hasn't officially retired, but I mean, I haven't seen anything about Larry Fitzgerald. So that would make Julio Jones the closest active player to Jerry Rice. Do you know how – and think about this. If somebody says – and Lucas, if somebody says to you or Blaine, Julio Jones, do you not immediately think Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Right? You don't even have to think about it. Like, that's the first three – literally, if somebody says Julio Jones, that's the first thing I think about.
That's not what I think.
Okay.
I think, what a heck of a specimen.
Oh, now he is that too. Oh, my gosh, yes. Julio Jones is a first ballot, I think, sure thing Hall of Famer and quite a specimen. He is 9,999 yards behind Jerry Rice.
He's at, what, 13,000? Where's he at right now?
He's at 12,896.
Okay.
Jerry Rice is at 22,895. Larry Fitzgerald is actually second on the list, but like I said, I haven't seen that he's retired. He's 17,492. He's
the real comparison,
yards.
Though, is year 10, which is what this is for Julio, or is this 11? Where was Jerry Rice at year 10 or 11, whatever Julio is, in numbers as far as yardage?
To see how even they are?
Yeah,
or not.
Because this is actually a more of a passing league now. Jerry and those guys pass the ball a lot because they were in the West Coast offense, but that would be kind of interesting to see. I bet it would be a closer knot. I bet Jerry probably still wins that one.
This is year 10 for Julio.
Okay, going on year 10, yeah. And so where was Jerry Rice going on year 10, like in yardage? Was he at 13,000? Let's just see if he's there. Going into the season, not at the end of the season, going into it. And, you know, he played with two Hall of Fame quarterbacks, Jerry Rice, and Joe Montana and Steve Young. So, you know, I don't know if people are going to think Matty Ice is a Hall of Famer. He may get close because of the numbers, but I think Julio's feat, and I hate to say that, I think what he's done is a little more impressive in going into year 10. What do the numbers say?
Jerry Rice had 13,275.
So he's only beating him by about 500 yards, just 400 yards or so. And he's the best to ever do it, a receiver. So Julio's on the right track. And by the way, remember, he missed a lot of games last year, or he probably would have it. Yeah.
Still pretty amazing that a guy could be thought of as a Hall of Famer. And then you have no one's ever going to break that record. Are they? Of Jerry Rice, 22,000.
Well, it's longevity.
Oh, my
somebody's got to want to play that long and, you know, take it down. Where's T.O. on the list as far as yardage like that? I thought T.O. was up there, no?
T.O. Terrell Owens is number 3, 5934.
Okay.
And then Randy Moss, then Isaac Bruce, who you got a good look at. Tony Gonzalez on there. Tim Brown, who was another guy that played forever. Steve Smith, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne. More Colts in there.
Oh,
yeah.
You get all those guys out there. Only guy I didn't play against was Steve Smith. Those receivers. Yep, I saw a lot of them, and I saw the backside of them. Chasing them.
People seeing the backside of us because we got to go. It's time for us to go. 3HL's up next.
Nice. I'm always giving you great material there.
Sets me up every time. Peace.
Yep. Happy Tuesday.
And peace.
happens on Rocky Top. It also happens here. Get the best Vols football coverage all week, and then listen to every game with Bob Kessling and Pat Ryan all season on your home for Vols football.